daughter-in-law who had run away from home just returned, but her mother-in-law warned her she shouldn't have come back. With a cold voice the older woman said, "This will be the worst decision you've ever made." She then ordered someone to keep an eye on the daughter-in-law's every move. Feeling frustrated, Annie went out for a walk, but soon realized she had lost her wallet. Just as panic hit her, a young girl picked it up and returned it. Annie was very grateful to the girl. The girl didn't say much. She turned and was about to leave, but she couldn't stop staring at the bread in a man's hand. It looked like she was hungry, so Annie bought her some food. To say thank you, the girl told Annie her name was Bella, and she lived nearby. Annie asked Bella, "Where are your parents?" Bella suddenly became guarded. She quickly made an excuse and left. Bella seemed terrified of being found out. Annie noticed Bella's strange reaction, and felt uneasy, so she followed her quietly, eventually ending up at an abandoned factory. Bella got nervous when she saw Annie. Annie quickly tried to calm her down, saying she meant no harm. Bella finally began to relax a little, and eventually opened up about her life. Turns out she was an orphan, who had finally been adopted after a long wait, only to be cruelly mistreated by her stepmother. So Bella ran away in secret, and began a life wandering without a home. Annie felt deeply sorry for the girl. She quietly brought Bella back to her house, and let her stay in the guest room, even shared her food with her. Annie reminded Bella she had to stay hidden, and not let anyone see her, to help stay in touch. Annie even bought her a phone. The next day when Annie walked out of the guest room, a maid happened to see her. The maid thought something was off, and reported it to the older woman. By the time Annie got back again, the older woman was already inside the guest room. Annie was incredibly nervous. If she found Bella there, she would no doubt throw her out without mercy. Luckily she didn't discover anything unusual. After the older woman left, Annie rushed into the guest room, but couldn't find Bella anywhere. Finally Annie found her in her own bedroom. Turns out Bella heard someone coming, and escaped through the window. Annie realized it was not safe to keep her in the house long term, so she planned to get Bella a hotel room, but they ran into Bella's stepmother, who tried to force Bella to go back with her. Annie immediately stepped in to stop her. She realized the world outside was even more dangerous, so she decided to bring Bella home again. But this moment was secretly witnessed by the rich girl who'd been watching Annie. Her eyes lit up with a scheme. She had come up with a plan. She found the stepmother, and asked if she wanted to make some money. The moment she heard there was money involved, the stepmother's eyes lit up. This guy was on the verge of tears. His wife suddenly said she wanted to be just friends, and someone even sent her fresh flowers. Al was dying to know who it was. He couldn't resist checking Annie's phone. Turned out it was someone named Sam. They had plans to work together the next day. Al felt a wave of jealousy. He tried to sneak the flowers away, but turned around and ran into Annie. Al had to come up with something quick. He said he was just taking the flowers outside for some sunlight, but it was nighttime so there was no sun. Al realized how ridiculous that sounded, so he awkwardly put the flowers back. Annie told Al she had plans to work with someone tomorrow. Of course Al knew it was Sam. He wanted to stop her from going, but couldn't come up with a good reason, so he just left looking miserable. But actually, Sam was a woman. She was part of a charity organization. They invited Annie because she helped a homeless girl named Bella. The organization officially invited her to join. They usually helped elderly people who had no family, doing what they could to make life easier. An older lady was also part of the group. When she found out Annie had joined, she instantly got jealous. She refused to be on the same level as Annie, so she decided to donate a large sum to raise her status. But she didn't have that kind of money on hand, so she secretly took the family jewelry, and pawned it off for a high-interest loan. What she didn't realize was that her moment of vanity nearly cost her life. The next day Annie was getting ready to go with Sam. Al finally couldn't hold it in anymore. He told Annie to watch her behavior. "Even if our marriage is just on paper, you're still technically my wife." Annie looked totally confused. She had no idea why Al was suddenly mad. Al stormed out in frustration, but as soon as he opened the door, there was Sam. She had come to pick Annie up for volunteer work. That's when Al realized Sam was a woman, and that he had totally misunderstood. He cursed himself for being such an idiot. Al decided to go apologize to Annie, but right outside the door he ran into the rich girl. She found out he was going to see Annie, and tried to talk him out of it, but Al wasn't interested in hearing her out. The girl totally lost it. Her makeup was running from all the crying. She swore she'd win Al back no matter what. When Al found Annie again, he couldn't say a single word. He just silently got to work, like a guilty kid trying to make up for something. Annie saw how serious he was, so she brought him a glass of orange juice. Al lit up like a goofball, and worked even harder after that. But then Annie suddenly slipped. Their eyes met, and something shifted in the air. Annie just stared at Al. When she finally snapped out of it, she didn't know what to do with her hands. Al gently wiped the paint off her face.